Okay. I shall wait for people to get back in. I think everyone's been on now though. But no one's here, so well, I'm just talking to myself. Okay. I guess I'll try to pick up where I was. I don't really know, where was I? So I'll wait for a bit for people to get back in. Bagged you back. Thank you. I don't know what happened. This is okay. I'm gonna need to look into this because this happened. Like, I think the last stream or the stream before maybe it froze as well. I don't know what's going on with what's going on my computer. No, you didn't do that. No, you wouldn't. No, you wouldn't have done that. No. It would have been me. My whole PC froze as well. So I ulted out. I was like, "What's going on?" Because I was talking to myself, obviously, because I wasn't there. I was like, "Okay, let's ult tab because I'm about to move on now, or try to because I'm yapping." And then I realized everything was frozen. I was like, "Oh," because my camera freezes as well for no reason. So I was like, "Okay, I'll forward my camera," and then I tried to alt tab to change it, and the whole PC froze. So I don't think it was you, unless the YouTube stream froze and then it froze my. I don't know. It wouldn't have been you, but some of you guys are back now, I guess. So I'll go back onto it. So I don't know where I froze. I don't know if it's got. I assume TradingView would have saved what I got. What was I talking about? Okay, so I don't know what you guys didn't hear. So I'll just talk about this, but again, that is off. I don't want to keep you guys for like an hour and 30 minutes because again, I talk a lot and it's a whole an hour of me to talking. So I'll not recover that time. So I will move on really quickly now because I've got 17 minutes left. So I don't know what I talked about last. I think I was talking about the idea that we could have a bit of a rejection block going after we've come past these equal highs here and had a decent retracement with a massive wick, and that we could come to the midpoint and potentially see resistance here. But as I see it right now, we're doing pretty well. And in terms of if we have support from where we are with this move, I definitely think we could come into one of these areas about 107k and definitely see some support there before we try and come back upwards again. But again, we haven't had a massive response from these highs. I definitely think at least coming towards 110.5k. I definitely think that could be an interesting area to try and aim for. But I definitely think in terms of like if we could get past 110.1, this kind of area here, and come back again, this is a dud. I'd probably look at the 1 hour actually. Let me delete it for now. I want to kind of look at what's going on. So in terms of what we've got, it's not awful. I think price action wise, we're doing decent. Highs and lows. It's not like we've printed past anything significant. In terms of what we have done though, to be fair, we have had a change. CISD, whatever you want to tell me, I don't care. Basically, with this here, so we technically have had a bit of a. We obviously had this high, low, the high move here, and then we had this low, and then we had a massive pump towards the high, and then a massive retracement. So again, this is actually also an order block on the 1 hour here, technically coming into this high, and then coming down. I think maybe we might need a print there, but it doesn't matter, whatever. But obviously we had this recovery, so we probably could see resistance coming into this area, especially. But obviously we've had this 1 hour candle currently doing pretty well. But my main point is we have actually had a candle body print past this low, so could show signs of slowing down definitely for Bitcoin in terms of where we are. And I don't mind that. I don't think that's a bad thing. I definitely looking at it, it doesn't look too great. Again, massive good move, massive bodies, tiny wicks. Once we get towards this area of coming to these highs, we tend to start to have wicks, especially over here where we have these low and high, like in these periods of like before we have big moves. I mean, it's kind of substantial data because again, this is like same thing here, tiny wicks, massive dumps. So I suppose it's unsubstantial, or whatever the word is. I don't know. But regardless, technically could be showing signs of slowing down on the 1 hour, especially with this print pass. But yeah, I think until we start to see trying to get past towards these highs again, I definitely think getting past this high, like wicking past this high, we have 110 and a half. I think that's really kind of valuable before we start to see retracement. But again, from what we have done so far, I don't think it stops us out of what we could be doing on the weekly. I definitely think we're going to have decent retracements for Bitcoin currently, because that's just what the market's doing. That's what the market's been doing on the weekly. You know, it's what's been happening over this whole period. You obviously this was a decent dump. This was a pretty big pump, to be fair. But this was from the pinnacle, no, not pinnacle, from the inception of the move, it continues to come upwards. But in this case, it's been a bit different, where we've had this, you know, we've had the highs, we've come past it and then come down. And in this case, from what it looks like, is we haven't really had a smooth move upwards. We haven't continued to go upwards. And instead of this case where we've had this kind of, you know, hoverage, is not really doing much, these lower highs, lower lows, until we hit these areas down here. With this area about 50k, we didn't really move, and then we start to pump from there. But in this case, we haven't had that. Obviously, it's been we had a pump move upwards, and then obviously this move down. But now to compare it from what we have here, we've had a what is it, like 6-7 weekly candles consecutive positive coming upwards. So in this case, it's like it's not like we've had kind of crab or whatever. We haven't kind of consolidated in this area. We have this move has proceeded from this kind of continuous move upwards. So I definitely think we should have deeper retracement than we have done so far. But as we stand right now, I did talk about this. I think I did talk about. Was it a daily? I think I remember talking about this. I think at 98k. I remember saying 98k was a price, because again we have this tiny gap here, which again on the lower time frames, on smaller ranges, this is in discount. This is going to be a buyer. This definitely was a buyer, as you can see with this move, and obviously we came up. So we have had support from there, which has then had that move upwards. But I definitely think we should see a bit deeper, and I think this is quite unanimous across the board to see deeper towards these areas. But let's just move on, because there's like not a lot of time. Again, if you guys have seen this stream, you know me. I yap about Bitcoin, and then I just like slightly talk about Ethereum, you know, and slightly talk about Solana. So I'll be fast. I think with Ethereum, you know, we have had moves up. You have continued to move up. I really don't think. What is this group? Oh, I don't know what that was. Oh, that was the old TA. So obviously we have had these prints above these areas. Let me zoom in a bit. This is like, there we go. As you can see, obviously with this high, we've obviously printed past this one, but obviously we also had this candle body one here. We then also had this major print above this high, so definitely coming above these highs as we speak. But I think with Ethereum's case, obviously we have had good moves upwards, but in terms of, you know, relative, it's like we were talking about this past here, and again, yeah, no, to be fair, 6% is quite a bit. Now that I'm thinking about it, to be fair, but looking at the weekly, but no, to be fair, the weekly on Bitcoin hasn't really changed. I'll take it back. We have done stuff. We're similar as Bitcoin. I was going to say, oh, we're not the same as Bitcoin. We're not really doing too much, but yeah, we have. I think I remember talking about this rejection block as well, actually. But regardless, we have printed above this, and this is what I did expect, though. To be fair, because what we did do was we looked at this range quite a bit ago, which showed this low slightly come into discount and then have this support point and then continue upwards. So I think, because again, this isn't really a substantial resistance point for Ethereum. And again, relatively soon, in terms of obviously Bitcoin coming to these max highs and whatnot, I think from Ethereum's case, yes, we did have this come past these highs here, but this was definitely the major point for me, especially with this band here coming towards this area. Again, this is very high though. So I regardless of where we come to on the high end, I definitely did think we would see a bit more movement upwards from obviously coming into this area and having this whole move be just below discount, finding support and then continue on upwards. So yeah, I think that was kind of the main point. So then moving down again, I think, you know, we're doing pretty well again. Print past our high, very good, holding our ground pretty nicely. Very similar with Bitcoin's case, where we obviously have had. Sorry about that. Big gap, obviously. We're kind of holding it. I mean, this isn't really good. Like we should to truly kind of actually use it. You come into it and then you come off. Like you don't just hold. You don't just do this. So I don't like this per se. But still, again, potential below us, regardless of what we have going on. And I definitely think it's very similar to Bitcoin's case in terms of what we have below us. To look at down here to find support. I think in Bitcoin's case, I think it was 106.5 or 107. I think it was actually. I can't remember the exact price of it, but same concept goes. So I definitely think we've already had this, especially with this print here, with this small time frame high. Obviously, with candle bodies especially, we've had this continuous print above old areas. But in this case, we definitely had this major move above it with this gap. So this obviously, regardless of the position of it, this was definitely very important to come above these highs and form this gap. But I mean, regardless of where we have come from, this was definitely the main thing to look at. Similar with Bitcoin, it's like to try and compare it anyway. In Bitcoin's case, obviously, we have come to the highs and worked above them and showing signs that we could try to come back up again towards 110.5k, whatever it was exactly. But in Ethereum's case, it was okay. This is a high, but we're not really in a major situation. I definitely think currently right now we have had periods where Solana, Bitcoin, Ethereum have slightly kind of meshed together in terms of what they could be doing. But definitely what we have right now, I think in Bitcoin's case, it's so different from what we have with Ethereum and Solana. I'm not saying they can't move unanimously later on in the market and that we have a kind of a global move down and retracements to find support or whatever. But I think with Bitcoin's case, especially if we go back to the weekly, I think in Bitcoin's case versus Solana and Ethereum, it's definitely a completely different market. Obviously, Ethereum's in a clear downtrend. Bitcoin's in a clear uptrend. It's definitely a very, very polar situation. So I think for Ethereum's case, it's like, again, I don't want to say, okay, well, Bitcoin, if it moves up the market, move with it. But again, these are independent coins. It's like we have had movements in other coins where they have been external from Bitcoin. So I think for me, I think I would be, I don't want to, it would be going against my conscious thoughts to say I think Ethereum's going to pump to the highs and all this sort of stuff, and it's going to follow Bitcoin and come all the way up towards 3,500, all this sort of stuff. But because I think Bitcoin is definitely due that move down. But I think in Ethereum's case, I don't think we're right there. I think comparatively, I think Ethereum could come up a tiny bit more towards these highs again, towards definitely this wick area. But in Bitcoin's case, we're already at that area, potential to come down. So I think it could be happening very soon to show signs. Again, we haven't fully done it on the 4-hour, but we are, have potential for it. So I think in Ethereum's case, it would follow along with Bitcoin, because again, in Bitcoin's case, even though we are on an uptrend, we should be expecting retracements. In Ethereum's case, we have been coming up during this downtrend, so at any point soon we could produce a lower high. And again, this is like external to internal. So again, these are the externals, technically, if you're in a downtrend. So we're just looking at what could stop us within this move here, which again, going back to what I've already talked about, it was these highs, which obviously we wicked past, and then it was this gap. So it's looking at to see, okay, when are we gonna produce our local kind of in this area high before we then aim towards lows again. So I think the market is going to move similar, but I think the situations are very different. So again, with Ethereum and Solana, I can't remember I think Solana is also in a downtrend on the weekly. I can't remember. I think I remember it is. Ethereum obviously it is right now, we can see on the screen, but Bitcoin we are bullish. But I think that where the parallels line up is the potential move we have could be recent, or could be soon anyway, in terms of coming down towards 90k for Bitcoin, whatever it is people think. In Ethereum's case, coming towards the lows again, 1300 or 1400 feels quite low, but I definitely don't think it's out, not doable, whatever. But I definitely think we could do that, and both things would be parallel. Both Bitcoin and Ethereum will be parallel because of this potential move, that they're both coming down for different reasons. One for Bitcoin to be finding its local internal low, but in Ethereum's case, it would be finding its external high, or external low in this case, for the downtrend. So I do think we have this process. I don't think what we've done in this, we have obviously moved up massively in Bitcoin, and we have had, 2600 is like 7% move. It's good moves for Ethereum, but I still don't think it's really taken it out of the potential for what we have coming up in however long it's going to take. Again, this is weekly stuff, so this is going to take a while. But, quickly looking at 4 hour before I move to Solana, because I know I have like about 5 minutes. We have had that print above. We are in this kind of move up. Ever since we've had this kind of move into this area, we have had this move upwards, showing signs to come upwards towards these highs. So again, I think in this case, it's like, okay, if we're in this uptrend, it's then obviously taking highs, finding new highs, and then finding internal support. And in this case, the internal support is definitely going to be some of these gaps, which sits about 24.78, and then it's taking these highs. So again, if we continue this move upwards, which I don't see why we couldn't, again, we have this this potential at 24.80, hold support there. I definitely think the next aim would be coming towards past where these highs we have right now, coming towards 26.8. So again, I think Bitcoin could stay a bit longer in its area. I think the 4 hour is still, we're currently still printing there. We haven't done anything solid there. We're still in the process of being at 109, whatever we are right now. We again, with the 1 hour candle body print past the low, we could be showing signs of slowing down to maybe find support. But regardless, I do think we're in the process of, I think we might have one more hit at the highs towards 110.5. It looks like a really good area. We have those equal highs. We have the highest high of the last move at however many months ago, whatever it was. So I do think we could have one more visit. But I think what it's showing signs of right now on the 1 hour, let's say, is slowing down. What I should be looking at is the 15-minute to see if we have reversals on this scope. Because again, looking at the 4 hour, it's like, okay, we want to have a relative area where we could show reversal. So it's like, obviously in Ethereum's case, it's like, okay, well, what we have going on, it's like, okay, this is our low. I'm just trying to look at, we have this previous low. We haven't printed past any lows per se. Come past this high, then obviously retraced. So we could have a bit of resistance with what we have going on here with these highs, but not necessarily, to be fair, because this is just normal price movement. Now that I'm just thinking about it as I'm saying it, but yeah, it doesn't look. I mean, Ethereum doesn't look how Bitcoin does. Because obviously, Bitcoin's case, we have that very close. In Bitcoin's case, we have this move up, and then we have this slight move with the candle bodies where it slightly prints past the candle bodies, and then it moves. We haven't moved up. We kind of do this. It's really awful to draw with the pen. I don't know why the pen looks like this. Actually, you know what? I should just do the path tool. That probably makes sense. Okay, it's kind of like this. It's like this is what we currently have going on. Let me make it small. Maybe not small actually. So it's like it slightly comes past the candle print. In terms of these being candle bodies, it slightly comes past it, and now we're starting to not really do that print yet. So it's not for sure, or we're definitely going to come down, but it's kind of like showing signs like, okay, on the lower time frames, it's slowing down. Obviously in this case, you can see it's like, okay, well, in this case, we have had this print, with this whole thing going on, we have had this print. And now we're, potentially slowing down a bit especially on the 50. This is the 50-minute, to be fair. So this is where you don't really. I'm not probably shouldn't be looking at this. This is more for entry stuff. But if we look at the 1 hour, we have slowed down in terms of obviously these candle bodies have started to come down a bit further than we have had previous lows. So again, just potentially showing a bit more of a slowdown for Ethereum. Again, slowing down a bit in these bodies here as well. Potentially, if we print past this as well. So that kind of lines up with Bitcoin in terms of Bitcoin could be slowing down. We might see resistance in this kind of area we have right now. We're already in this major weekly resistance of which we've seen resistance at it 2 times before. So again, I think we are in the, I think it's crazy to say we were going to come to 114k, then we would do 108k for the support point. I think it was 108k. I can't remember exactly what it was, but yeah, I think it makes more sense to find support and retrace, and then have another move up if we don't, hold support. But once we use this support and we come up again, if we don't form anything, it's gonna be very easy for us to come past that and then start to produce lower lows and come down and actually start to retrace for Bitcoin. But I think Ethereum's case is very similar. I do think we should see support down here. If we are slowing down. Again, we've already seen past this high, but this would be normal then. This would be normal, coming past these highs, coming to this area, and then once we see this, and if we respect it, it would then be aiming for highs, which would be, you know, this area, and then maybe major highs back here as we proceed to retrace back up continuously for Ethereum. So I've yapped. I know it's just hit 10 o'clock. I'm gonna go to Solana really quickly. It's gonna be super fast on Solana. What was I looking at? Yeah, so this is a similar process again, coming past highs. I don't know why I have it drawn here though. It's not very good there, but regardless, this high, for example, this high, in terms of you know, coming past it here, definitely coming up right now for Solana. So in terms of reversing to look at coming to find support internal, it's then okay, cool, we have this range, we then come into support, and then we're coming upwards. Again, we haven't had that high yet. Again, this has been a really good move upwards. It hasn't been close. So I don't think, the candle bodies are printing past. I don't think that, you know, for Solana. So I think it's pretty clear cut for me, 144 or it's 160 for this kind of if else kind of move we have going on. Again, it's still a big candle downwards. I'm not saying we have to move up in a consistent move, continuous, because again, in this case, for example, we have had this print pass, but that's not really how you look at it. So for me, I still think it's not that bad for Solana. Daily wise, I actually want to look at the daily. Again, still in this downtrend though, and going to the weekly even, I should probably hide some of this TA, but it's a bit messy. The same thing here though, we have printed past these lows, especially with this case, you know, printed past these lows, and very similar to Ethereum, else from Bitcoin, because again, Bitcoin's case, we're in this uptrend, but in Solana's case, very similar to Ethereum, where we have this lower high scenario. And again, it's similar with Ethereum, where I'm not convinced we've had a true lower high yet. I think we could have one more move up, but again, that would, you know, it depends on what the time frame everything is, because it's either it's price and it's also dependent on time. So I think it depends on you know, the length of time things take, but also you know, it's like how much time do we have, and are we going to see this move down, potential move down, before we see highs? I probably think so. Again, we're very, very close to it. So in this case, it would be, okay, weekly wise, again, we have had these equal candles, which is actually pretty good, to be fair, but we haven't really done anything yet. Again, this is obviously, it's Thursday, we still have a few more days, 3 days to be exact, but we haven't done anything yet. But again, actually saying that though, we have had this on the daily now. This is the daily, this isn't like the 4 hour. It's getting messy now, I do apologize. We've had this print pass on the candle body and this move past the high, and we're potentially doing this support. And not only on the 4 hour, but on the daily, we have this gap here, which again, I've already drawn this on the 4 hour, but it also resides the support in the discount, which we've used as support here, and we're starting to come up. So again, I think Solana's case, we have had this change in delivery, whatever you want to coin it, where we are starting to do higher lows now. As you can see with these, we're starting to do higher lows, we're starting to come up. So again, I do think it could be aiming towards 160 and starting to try get back up towards these highs again. And from there, from what I can see, you can see a really nice equal candle here. We have this like wick here, this whole gap which gets filled, and then this kind of rejection block per se, but also the high, which you can see we print past in this individual candle and then engulf pretty nicely with this move. So again, could be potential resistance there, just to kind of aim at what we could see. But again, like I said, you know, regardless of this kind of whole thing going on, we are still in this downtrend. So it's like, okay, what are we doing on the weekly as well? We are also in this downtrend from this print past this low, from the print past this low, and we've come past this at 107k. So we are in this downtrend technically. So on the weekly, it's looking at where's the lower high going to be, and then are we going to be aiming for $95? So in this case, obviously we had this kind of premature before we came up above here. And again, it depends on what we're looking at, because it's like if this is like if this is the move down, then this was residing above, similar to how Ethereum had. This is residing above into premium. We then came into it, and then obviously we have started to come down. So then it's like, okay, technically on the weekly, it's aiming for external, which is $95. In Bitcoin's case, it's aiming for internal, which is 90k. In Ethereum's case, it's aiming for external, which is 1,400. So it's just what's on the weekly. But again, the weekly doesn't translate to the 1 hour. Things are going to change on the local scope of things. So coming to these highs, it's just now aiming for what's going to stop us from continuing to go upwards and what's going to cause us to come down. Well, obviously, we've got different resistance points and all this sort of stuff. But as I have it right now on Solana, again, on the 4 hour, we are in this kind of move up, in this kind of uptrend we have. So I think this can continue. Again, I think this is going to be pretty good resistance here, though. And if we don't, so again, in terms of our major highs and lows of this downtrend, this 167 point is definitely a major high. Again, major low, major high here. So I think if we can't surpass this order block, we start to retrace past lows and print past, I definitely think we could then start to aim back towards where we were talking about at 123 for Solana. So again, I think the main message I have coming from Mighty anyway on Solana, Bitcoin, Ethereum is, even though we're in obviously good scenarios, I don't think it takes away from what we currently still have on the charts. Because again, pretty much every stream I've been covering the charts on in Thursdays, Tuesdays, Saturdays, they've majoritively been on the daily and the weekly. I've still been reiterating the same points. I have been looking at the 4 hour, but it's mainly been focused on daily and weekly. So I still don't think, obviously going over it, I still don't think it takes us out of what we have been talking about on pretty much everything. So there you go. That's it. I've yapped. There you go. I'm looking at the chat now because I haven't done that. But I'm 5 minutes over. Not that bad. 5 minutes over is not awful considering what's going on. I had to restart my computer and all that. But I think it's... Wait. Forgot about syrup. Oh, I don't have my charts on here. I'll recover it. Oh no. What is this? What is this? What the hell? Get rid of this. What the hell? Yeah, I'm getting rid of all this crap. I do not remember drawing that. It was probably positive and yeah, whatever. Okay, anyway, it's taking me. That's broken me out now. What do I look? When was? Oh no, my camera just flashed. Am I frozen? Okay, no, just make sure. Yeah, I'm scarred. I'm I don't want to, lag or anything. What was I looking at? Wasn't I looking at this? I didn't. 24th of June. That was Tuesday. I might have looked at it. It was either then or it was either 21st. Can't remember the 21st. I remember looking at retracing to support on the 4 hour. True. I'm not gonna find it. Whatever. We're in an uptrend. I don't care. I've kept you guys long enough. I'm not gonna look at syrup. That's what I'm thinking. Shout out to Bitcoin. It's doing its thing. Potential shorter term retracements. If we can't, Bitcoin's on the 1 hour potentially showing signs of slowing down, coming down a bit. We have quite a near point of support. I don't think it's too crazy. The support point is above previous lows. It would just be a higher low. That's not crazy. I think I would want to see us maybe come towards 110.5 because that's an equal high on a monthly scale, on like a weekly scale, like over a month. That's a weekly scale, or maybe a daily scale even. Now I'm thinking about it, that would be a really important high. If we're not aiming for the previous one at 110.7, but again, 110.7 isn't that far away. It's very stacked. Again, I think 110.4 is a good high. We've already come past it. We've already retraced a tiny bit. We haven't had a really big retracement yet. I definitely think now that we've had this equal high here, very fresh high, potential orders, very fresh high. If we can get past that, that would be huge. Or wick past that. I definitely think we could. We haven't. I don't think this is finished yet. What was I talking about? I think I was talking about 107k in this support. Yeah, I think, again, 107 isn't that far away. And again, this stacks up, this really stacks up with all these highs. So very interested to see what happens. We're at this order block, which we've seen resistance here. We're at these highs, we're sweeping them. We're very, high up in this move of what we've got going on. In terms of candle bodies and whatnot, we are still in this trend downwards. We haven't printed or anything. Again, this is daily to be fair, but we haven't printed past any candle bodies. We haven't had that change in state. On the weekly we have though, but again, this is a weekly. It's like it can be out a bit, but again, I think my opinion still stands. I've yapped. Thank you guys for being here. Appreciate you all. Oof. Okay. We love talking about charts. That's what we do. You know what? I love the charts, man. Even when I'm wrong, I don't mind. It's just a learning process, or it's an opportunity to learn. Yeah, I'm happy with what we've got going on. I think I'm banking on the, not the I told you so, but I'm banking on the I knew it. I said this would happen, type of thing. I'm not looking. I'll dissect that. I'm not on the 1 hour. I'm not doing really quick fire charts, which you can take effect on the 2 days. This is a weekly stuff. So I think my aim right now is banking on the. I knew I thought it was going to happen. I was waiting for this in terms of coming to 90k. So we'll see. But I know again, some people are talking about what was it? Was it on the daily? I think it was. Some people are talking about this. I know they are, but I don't. I think that's a bit low. Because if we do that and we oh so forbiddenly print past these lows, that is just not a good thing. And even if we're not aiming for there, we start to print past some of these lows, especially. To be fair, because on the weekly, it's like if we print past this low, it's like it's just not going to be good. Whatever. I've yapped. Thank you guys. Appreciate you all. I will be back on Saturday the 5th. 4th of July tomorrow. So if any of you are American, shout out to you guys. 4th of July. Big thing going on over there. I am not American, as you might be able to hear, so I am not going to be celebrating 4th of July. But Friday, very good. I'll be back on Saturday though, and I'll also be back on Tuesday, and then I think we're back on Wednesday. I think we've got another quiz going on. So that would be good. Quiz yesterday, brilliant. Appreciate you. Obviously, I think everyone's pretty much left for now. I don't know. I can't actually see the numbers of who's here, so I might be talking to myself. I might be literally talking to a wall. So maybe talking to myself here. But appreciate you guys. For those of you who were here on Wednesday and did take part, great game. Appreciate you all being there, all being there. And again, I will say it again. The amount of people who actually went off and looked into Corgi AI and actually got data on them and really came prepared. I'm very impressed. And you know what? I didn't think people were going to do that because I was thinking to myself, I was like, okay, YouTube quiz, would I do this? Again, obviously we give away, prizes, so I probably would do something, but I was just very impressed with the quality and the quantity as well. The general enthusiasm for the quiz and people actually going off and you guys actually going off and looking at Corgi AI and just like getting involved and looking at just the project in general to actually come prepared for the quiz. So thank you guys for that. Appreciate you all. And you know what? It feels like every quiz gets better than the last. Like I think I obviously talked about it on Wednesday in terms of the kind of not the archetypes of the quiz, but in terms of the little games we have within the game where it's like, okay, there's always someone who's like neck and neck with someone else. There's always someone who's like massively high up. Obviously, hidden agendas is always high up. There's always someone who like comes in at the last moment, like in the know or whatever. There's always the same thing over and over again, and it's great, and it gets better and better. 10's pretty good, yeah, it was great. But anyways, I think we're doing another Wednesday. I'll be back Saturday. We'll see what happens. I think for Saturday, I'm more aiming at looking at coming down or seeing if we do come down. And what we're doing because again, we haven't truly printed past the lows on the 4 hour yet. We haven't really fully came down to confirm we're coming down on Bitcoin. But I think we could be potentially doing it. We could have a big spur in Bitcoin. We could come past 110.5. We could have a massive dump, but it could change. So it's one of those things. But I'm more interested to see if we have that retracement. So yeah, I'll be back on Saturday, which I think gives it plentiful time. So I'll be back Saturday. I'll see you guys Saturday. Mike's back tomorrow. Yeah, I'll be around. I'm trying to build a Telegram bot. We've got this idea of having a system where we have a Telegram bot which like we can post tweets to, which post in the Telegram, and you guys can click through it, and if you engage in it, it basically like gives you a point and whatnot, and then we do prizes for people who engage in our tweets or other people's tweets and stuff like that. So so you might see that soon. I'm obviously taking my time with it and make sure it's, the quiz is good, but there are just these little things which happen, do you know what? The last question of the quiz, it annoyed me that. It really did, because, you know what, it was so tense, and it drew me out completely. Because I had to add it, and then I got the question wrong, and I added the wrong question. It was a mess. But, yeah. So, anyway, I'm building that. That's just a little insight. So, that was the best bit. Yeah, I think for things which happen in the quiz, on the like streamer side of thing, it's more of a you're aware of it could be funny. Like it's like as I'm trying to go get the question, I'm like, oh, I bet everyone's like just like not happy. But I also think I'm like this could be funny. where I'm trying to go to the question and it's just the wrong question, and it's like question 5, a random question. So I think as someone who like does it live, but also is like on the other end of things, I get that. But I'm glad it's funny, and that's the thing. I'm glad people enjoy it, and that's that's what's nice about it. Because like I've spent a while building it and figuring it out, and it's like to have actual consistent people coming along and just having fun. And again, only 3 people can win the actual prize, but to have the majority of people just have fun and enjoy it is great. So I always appreciate that from everybody. But anyway, I'm yapping, completely yapping. I think there's like literally just UK be here. So anyway, shout out to you. I don't know if any of you guys are here. Shout out to you guys as well. But again, I'll be back Saturday. I've kept you guys. Thank you. Appreciate you all. See you next time. I don't think that's it. Kishan's here. Shout out to you as well. I know you're busy with stuff going on. But I appreciate you for joining anyway, Kishan. I don't know if you're still in the Alps or wherever you are filming, but appreciate you for joining the quiz as well. But I don't know what we're doing Wednesday. I don't think it's Corgial again. It might be. I don't know if it's anyone different. I don't know if it's a random person. It might be another like wool swap type of thing. So you might be back to usual schedule with that. But I'll leave you guys. Thank you. Appreciate you all. See you Saturday. Goodbye.